The truth is, humans are remarkably resilient creatures. If you were to remain in outer space without a spacesuit, although there is a considerable risk of severe damage, you could survive for roughly a minute and a half. Hello everyone! However, there are places in the cosmos with conditions far more extreme than the vacuum of space. Venus, for instance, is one such world. Do you think you could actually stay alive on that planet? Welcome to our channel. We will share everything with you right now. So, let us begin. A hellish place. Venus is the hottest planet in our solar system and quite likely the most inhospitable one for humans to approach. It sits farther from the Sun than Mercury does, yet it is dramatically hotter. It all comes down to its atmosphere, or more precisely, the uniquely composed atmospheric layers that envelop Venus. Most of Venus's atmosphere is made up of carbon dioxide, which creates an immense greenhouse effect. This means that nearly all of the heat Venus receives from the Sun remains trapped on the planet. Additionally, dense clouds of sulfuric acid and other chemical vapors blanket Venus, further warming it. These thick clouds wrap the planet in a substantial insulating blanket. They are so impenetrable that you cannot see Venus's surface from space. Not only do these clouds cover the morning star, also known as Venus, but they hold in even more heat. Because of these clouds, the planet is always in a state of dim twilight, even during what we would call daytime. To put it simply and succinctly, the surface of Venus can be described as dark, searingly hot, and utterly unbreathable. The mass of Venus's atmosphere is about 93 times heavier than Earth's atmosphere. If you were to convert every bit of Venus's air shell into liquid, it would form an ocean comparable in size and volume to the Atlantic. The pressure at Venus's surface is about 92 times that of Earth's. That corresponds to roughly the pressure you would experience almost 3,000 feet underwater. Under such conditions, carbon dioxide behaves more like a liquid than a gas. Consequently, in the last 3 miles of Venus's atmosphere, this air grows so dense that it takes on a syrupy consistency. Many people have a sensation like this in nightmares. That feeling where you suddenly need to flee, yet the thick air around you slows every movement to a crawl. That is exactly what it would be like. You might say this is the first ward of a literal hell. None of the probes humankind has sent to Venus have lasted more than 2 hours on the planet's surface. This is not simply because the intense pressure is a challenge. For instance, the bottom of the Mariana Trench has far higher pressure, yet our equipment can descend there without major complications. The hellish heat is another huge factor. Venus is so scorching, with temperatures of around 864 degrees Fahrenheit, that it surpasses the melting points of lead and tin and creates an extremely corrosive environment. Moreover, a perpetual mist of sulfuric acid hangs in the air on Venus. This occurs because the planet's clouds sometimes condense into acid rain that evaporates quickly before hitting the ground, filling the atmosphere with those droplets. If you were exposed on the surface of Venus without any protection, you could not survive for more than 5 seconds. However, we do not even know precisely what would finish you off first. Would it be the intense heat, the crushing pressure, or the smothering density of an air so thick that your lungs would effectively drown? Or would sulfuric acid vapor in the atmosphere destroy your tissues first? An unlucky astronaut would likely vanish without a trace in a flash. Yet, if you remember to wear a spacesuit, things might become a little more bearable. Let us think about the pressure first. As mentioned, the atmospheric pressure on Venus is roughly equivalent to what you would experience at about 900 meters below sea level, which is about 2,950 feet. The world record for scuba diving is currently held by an Egyptian diver named Ahmed Gabar. In 2014, Gabar successfully descended to about 1,090 feet. That is only about 1/3 of the depth we need for Venus, so it might not sound that striking at first glance. Still, remember that was on Earth, and Gabar used a basic oxygen tank not engineered by NASA specialists. If we aim to design a spacesuit capable of protecting us from Venus's heat and other punishing conditions, that suit would logically protect us from excessive pressure too. In essence, this is a technological hurdle and nothing more. Nevertheless, even if you could stroll around Venus, it would not serve much purpose. Yes, wearing that kind of suit could allow you to stay alive for more than 5 seconds. Perhaps you could endure for a longer period, but it would not offer anything entertaining. Even on Venus's clearest day, the planet is only as bright as Earth's dusk, with very faint twilight. And with a dense, hazy fog that further impedes visibility, you would not have much to look forward to. In fact, that is one reason why we have 0 active Venus rovers right now. Designing them is highly complex, and the scientific payoff is rather minimal. The Kingdom of Clouds. Still, if you truly want to catch a glimpse of Venus with your own eyes and survive, there remains a possibility. You do not necessarily have to land on the burning, brutal surface of this planet. There is a far more livable option. Like any planet's atmosphere, Venus's atmosphere is quite stratified and uneven. This fiery inferno we have described applies only to the lower layer of the troposphere. In the upper portion of the troposphere, at about 31 to 40 miles in altitude, conditions become somewhat better. Up there, the temperature and pressure are quite similar to what we experience on Earth. If you chose to jump from a spaceship into the upper troposphere and free fall for 5 seconds, there are some rules to keep in mind. First and foremost, do not hold your breath. Such a heavy concentration of carbon dioxide is exceptionally hazardous to the human body, and it could shut down your brain's respiratory center. Next, firmly close your eyes. You wouldn't want sulfuric acid drifting into them, right? In other words, you likely wouldn't see anything. If you opened your eyes, the clouds of Venus might be the final sight of your life. Nevertheless, you would definitely feel an unforgettable rush that would stay with you for as long as you lived. After such a flight, you would almost certainly suffer extensive chemical burns on your skin, requiring immediate medical intervention. Yet, you would still have a chance to remain alive. There is even a possibility you could avoid permanent complications. To genuinely enjoy the view of Venus's clouds, wearing a reliable spacesuit is the best approach. Then you could see the grandiose cloud structures tinted in yellows and oranges, and you might catch sight of Mercury or Earth shining brightly in the Venusian sky. The sun we are so used to would appear much larger and even more dazzling from Venus. After all, the morning star, or Venus, is situated closer to the sun than Earth is. Several intriguing projects are underway to explore the second planet from the sun, focusing specifically on its outer troposphere. Interestingly, a mixture of gases similar to Earth's air can act like helium does in our atmosphere, allowing it to float within the skies of Venus. Essentially, we could deploy a massive balloon in Venus's atmosphere, using it to linger for extended periods right within the layer we find more suitable. Theoretically, it could remain suspended there indefinitely. Traveling aboard such a colossal balloon would allow you to observe Venus as long as you wanted, without endangering your life or health. However, do not forget certain details like your internal clock. Venus rotates on its axis in a very leisurely, slow manner. One day on Venus lasts even longer than its year, because it takes 224 Earth days to orbit the Sun, yet it rotates once every 243 Earth days. As a result, daytime and nighttime each stretch out for about 4 months on Venus. On the bright side, you would not risk missing a sunrise or sunset, since you could watch them nearly all day. All in all, while Venus's atmosphere is strikingly beautiful, its surface is bleak and shrouded in persistent darkness. In the future, when our solar system becomes fully colonized, the skies of Venus will likely turn into a hotspot for space tourism. Plus, industries could be established there, such as harvesting sulfuric acid. In this way, the morning star, Venus, could become genuinely appealing for the people of Earth. We can make more videos of this nature, focusing on many other celestial bodies in our solar system. Of course, that depends on whether you find this topic engaging. So, please let us know your thoughts by hitting that like button and sharing on your social media. We sincerely appreciate your support. Until we meet again, goodbye.